Magic the Gathering Arena, Hearthstone, and Runeterra are just a few of the many, many ultra-popular, high-caliber digital CCG games you can play right now. And now, potentially, we got another, Magic Spellslingers, a new product from Wizards of the Coast, creators of Magic the Gathering, one of the oldest, most complicated, and expensive collectible card games to date. But Magic Spellslingers is not MTG. Is that a bad thing? Well, I, Drunken Dork from the Mana Ramp podcast, a long-time Magic player, am here to give you my opinion of Spellslingers, the good, bad, and ugly. Like I said in the intro, Spellslingers, although from the creators of MTG, is nothing like it. If I was going to compare it to another CCG, I would say it plays more like Hearthstone than Magic the Gathering or Magic the Gathering Arena. Before I go over the good, bad, and ugly, for your reference, let me explain how it plays. Each player starts with around 25 health. The first player to go down to 0 health loses.
Child's play.
I should have seen that.
Like Hearthstone, you use mana crystals as a resource to cast your creatures and spells. You start the game with 1 crystal and get an additional crystal each turn that replenishes. Also like Hearthstone, they completely take out the ability to actively respond to your opponent's casting creatures or spells. You also get a hero which distinguishes the style of deck you can use, and each hero has their own unique abilities which absolutely screams Hearthstone. It also just looks like Hearthstone. If you take a step back and look at them side by side, they are almost indistinguishable. But unlike Hearthstone, Spellslingers has 3 phases: Main Phase 1, Combat, and Post-Combat Main Phase. Main Phase 1 is where you cast spells and creatures or activate abilities of equipment you have. Combat Phase, like MTG, you just openly attack your opponent. You can't individually target your opponent's creatures like you would in Hearthstone. This allows your opponent to block and choose blockers, which to me adds a level of critical thinking to the game that is more like Magic. And finally, we have the post-combat main phase, which if you play MTG, you know exactly what this phase is for. This is a phase where the in the know Magic players cast their spells and creatures.
Shall we begin?
Now that we all know how to play, let me go over the good. Everything I say is subjective, but I think over everything else, this is a personal like. That being said, even though I said it looks like Hearthstone, I actually think this is a good thing. To me, I like this look, because the UI is intuitive. Everything is very defined, from the mana crystals to the creatures and the equipment. It's all really easy to understand, which ultimately makes it much easier to comprehend, whether you're new to MTG or CCGs in general. Speaking of easy, the gameplay. I like the ease of this game. I'm used to Magic the Gathering Arena or even more complicated paper MTG like Modern and Legacy, but this is nothing like those. And I like that. Why make another digital MTG game when you already have MTGA and Magic Online? I feel I can just get in a game and be doing like 5 other things while playing without using a ton of critical thinking skills and still pull off wins. It's great. And then finally we have MTG lore. I absolutely love the fact that they added in cards from Magic the Gathering. We have staples like Birds of Paradise, Stoneforge Mystic, and Negate. The best part is these cards do similar things as their Magic counterparts. For example, Bop adds an additional fragile mana crystal. When Stoneforge enters the battlefield, you get a weapon. Negate is a trap that will counter an opponent's spell. I love this. It's clever and speaks to my long-lived affection for MTG. It makes me excited to see what future cards we'll be getting from the MTG universe. Now that I've gushed over the game for the past couple of minutes, let me switch it up and go over the bad. Game length. Like I said, I like the gameplay and the ease of it, but with that, I feel like the game should be quicker. I have played Spellslinger games that have dragged out to about 15 minutes, which to me feels way too long for a game this easy. It also, in that respect, feels a little too much like MTG. I think Spellslinger needs to feel completely different from its much older, much smarter, bigger brother, so it can better stand out. This game feels like the perfect game to jam through while you're waiting in a long line, but unfortunately the length isn't conducive of this. But maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments. And finally, we have trap cards. This is Spellslinger's answer to Instance and Flash. The fact they took away Instance doesn't bother me. It's the execution of this mechanic that I really don't like. The way a trap card works is once you cast it, it will have a specific interaction that will trigger it. I will use Negate as an example. Pay 2 mana crystals, and if your opponent plays a spell, trap, or artifact, counter it. Cool. Sounds exactly like what I want to be doing. But wait, on my turn, I place a trap. My opponent's turn goes by, they play a creature, the trap doesn't go off. It is now my turn again, and rather than the trap staying placed, it returns to my hand. I can play it again, but I already used 2 mana crystals to play it. Now I have to use 2 more? That means Negate now costs me 4 mana crystals, and it still may not resolve. I personally think this is a really bad gameplay mechanic. The fact that these return to your hand makes some of these trap cards almost unusable. And finally, we have the ugly, the grind. At first glance, when you get into the game, they're showering you with prizes and free gold and gems and so much stuff. Feels like Spellslingers is incredibly generous. Once you start grinding the game though, you start to realize how hard and expensive it can be. Let me first start by telling you about the currency so you can better understand the struggle with the grind. Like most CCGs, Spellslingers has an unnecessarily convoluted currency system that encourages you to spend money. You have gold, gems, and shards. You can only use gold to buy certain items in the daily deal section of the store, which so far includes 1 pack a day and some foils, maybe a card or 2. You obtain gold with daily quests and gems. You use gems to buy packs or gold. You obtain gems with daily quests and real money. And finally, you use shards to craft cards. This is Spellslinger's version of Hearthstone does. That means, yeah, you heard me folks, we finally have dusting in a Magic product. I am so excited. Or am I? Turns out it's not as great as it sounds. Unlike Hearthstone does, Spellslingers has 6 different kinds, 1 for each color and 1 for multicolor cards. This means if you want to craft a mythic red card, you're going to need about 1.2k red shards, which is a lot of sharding. That's sharding, not sharting. This is bad because as you open packs and get duplicates of cards you can shard, you end up with only the color of card you sharded, which will make obtaining some of these cards really, really hard to do. Speaking of obtaining cards, the shop will only allow you to purchase 1 pack a day with gold. That means the only other way to get packs is using real money to buy crystals, which is going to make obtaining cards really hard, especially for free-to-play players. Finally, we have the hero grind. The game starts you off with Chandra, but has 15 other unlockable heroes, all with their own unique abilities and card sets. The way you unlock these heroes is with keys. So I guess technically that's yet another currency. And the way you obtain keys is by getting new cards. And you get new cards by opening packs. Wait, I said you can only buy 1 pack a day with gold though. That means if you want to get heroes quick, you'll have to use real money to buy packs, to get cards, to obtain keys, to get your desired heroes. Yeesh, that's a lot of work and time and money. I don't like that. Ultimately though, all that being said, I do still like the game. I can't ever see this being my primary go-to digital CCG, but when I'm watching TV, shopping with my wife, or anything else that will need some of my attention, this is a much better alternative than MTGA for me, due to, my brain not being able to do literally anything else while playing Magic the Gathering Arena. Quick caveat, everything I have said is based off of the first week of the game being out. I can only hope WotC will eventually fix the store and currency situation. If you are still here, I hope this was helpful for you. And if you want more on this game, leave a comment below. If you're into MTG Arena, especially Historic, please check out the Mana Rant podcast or any of the many gameplay videos on this channel. Also, please like, subscribe, click the bell. It's very appreciated. Thanks so much for watching all. Bye.